Welcome, guys, to the Growth Mastermind Group Zoom call hosted by myself, Tony, and Peter. Today, we have the pleasure of having Brenda Colassa. Brenda is a transformational success coach who transforms entrepreneurs struggling to find confidence, balance, and clarity into taking control of their time, becoming empowered, and achieving more in their business. So, with that, I give you guys Brenda.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, both Peters, for having me tonight.
Both Peters, yeah.
Both
Don't
Peters, right?
PNP.
P and P. There you go. There you go. So, okay. So I just want to ask you guys something. You know that drawer full of single socks that you guys have that everybody has, and they're just waiting to like commit to something, commit to their life's purpose of being a sock, maybe, but they just can't because, well, let's face it, the commitment from the other sock just isn't there. So they sit waiting, right? Well, this is kind of how I view a lot of the goals that we set. Okay, I don't know about you, but I have a whole drawer full of goals that I meant to do, I committed to do, but they just seem to sit there like my favorite socks do. But you know what? Unlike our socks, we actually have a choice over our commitment to what's in that drawer, don't we? Right? I'm here today to help you to achieve more of your goals with less resistance, overwhelm, and stress, and to be able to finally do away with that goal drawer altogether. Sound good? Does that make sense? Yeah? All right. So a little bit about me and how I got here. As Peter mentioned, my name is Brenda Colassa, and I'm an award-winning entrepreneur who's built many different businesses throughout my career. You know, I like to say that I'm multi-passionate. One of my passions is my graphic design business that I've had for over 25 years. It's where I get to help inspire business owners to become more confident in their marketing, make more money through a consistent and professional visual brand. Okay. I also, though, get to teach and inspire small business entrepreneurs to become more confident in who they are, more focused through certain systems that's going to allow for more joy, creativity, productivity, and getting to their goals and creating more revenue in their business. So when we talk about goals, I have a vast amount of experience with those goals that never make it out of the drawer, believe me. And I also have a lot of experience when goals seem to go sideways and disintegrate before your very eyes. I'll tell you one experience that happened to me a few years ago. I had a company called Success for Business. Okay. It was both an online consortium, it was a membership sort of mentoring consortium, and as well as a company that we had face-to-face events, such as my yearly expo that you see on the screen. Okay, so this was a company that I'd been growing for 5 years. I put everything I had into that company. And my yearly business expo was the biggest deal in town at the time. In fact, there's still nothing like it to this day where I live. So we had 2 separate areas for speakers running so that people could choose to sit in on any one at a time. We had a mentoring lounge that you see on the top there. Free mentoring for all attendees. We had a technology space. We had exhibitors, a panel of experts Q&A forum, and a small business entrepreneur award. I had huge goals and a beautiful vision for that company. I wanted to expand to 4 other places within the province. I'm from Canada. And I wanted that company to become a household name to small business owners. The thing was, I was doing everything myself. I was doing the marketing, the advertising, the design, the social media posts, finding sponsorships, speakers, exhibitors, mentors, getting butts in the seats. Everything was on me. I was also raising 2 young teens at the time. I had a husband who was miserable with his job. I was on 2 boards, 3 committees, and I was still putting food on the table and keeping up with deadlines in my graphic design business. I was tired. I was tired, to say the least. And you know what? I remember the day when it all went to crap and I realized that I just couldn't do it myself any longer. I was really starting to see traction and what the impact was on small business leaders. I could see my vision coming into focus. But I'd also been having a lot of chest pains. I was constantly sick with a cold. I wasn't around my family very much because I didn't have time. And I was always exhausted. I was on the edge of burnout. And I knew that I couldn't keep up with the pace. So I tried to find a partner. Eventually, I tried to sell it. Couldn't do that. And it finally came to the realization that I just had to let it go for my health, for my family. I tell you, I felt angry. I felt defeated. I felt embarrassed and completely lost. I think I cried for weeks. I still get emotional to this day thinking about that business. And you know what, looking back, there were so many red flags that I should have seen. No wonder I didn't complete that goal, that beautiful vision that I had. Considering I had another company, I was completely unrealistic with that goal to start with. I didn't have a clear plan outlined as to how to get there. And I took on so much myself at one time, I got completely overwhelmed and frazzled by it all. I was working at least 10 hours a day, including weekends, just to get everything done that needed to be done, and thinking that this was the only way to do it. And the thing is, the most important thing, I think, is that I forgot to have fun with the process, which is really one of the key factors to being productive without wanting to rob a liquor store at the end of the day, right? I mean, totally unrealistic. Unable to know how to break things down and not really sure what my real vision was or, or how to get there in the first place. Can anybody relate to that at all? Put in the chat, yes, no. Just so I don't feel alone. Yes, good. Awesome. So tell me if this is you. I hear so many entrepreneurs tell me how overwhelmed they are, how stressed, how scattered, how unfocused they feel when it comes to being able to achieve the things that would really make a difference in their business. Their confidence is gone. They don't have a clear direction in how to start, continue, or to complete that goal. And they don't have a clue what they should be doing on a day-to-day basis to meet that goal. That's what led me to share what I've learned along the way and what I'm going to share with you guys tonight. It's a system that I've developed that helps people to stay motivated and energized while they're in the process of getting to that goal. It cuts out the overwhelm, the stress, and the feeling of being unscattered and unfocused. My clients become way more focused on what they need to do and really start to hone in on developing better habits around those day-to-day priorities so that they can start to be able to get through the things that are on their list, right? That's going to move that needle in their business and start making more money while they're at it. So through Kaizen that you're going to learn about and the system that I use, I am uber focused now. I'm able to hone in on better habits around those day-to-day priorities. And I'm starting, it's just nice to be able to see those results that you want so badly. Thankfully, I don't have any more chest pains. I've got way more energy than I used to, and I save a ton of time during my day. That's enough about me. Let's dig in, and if you'll stick with me to the end, I've got a few free gifts for you, as well as an exciting free challenge that I wanna just let you guys know about. All right. So think of something that you wanted to achieve over the last year, but you haven't been able to. In other words, what's in your goal drawer? Right? Your intention was there. You really wanted to do something, but before it started or once you got into it, something happened, right? It fizzled somehow and you've had to shift gears. You hit a roadblock. Anybody? Post in the comments one goal that you wanted to get to complete, but you never did, or you just haven't yet and it's in that drawer? I'm going to take a drink while everybody comments. One goal that you haven't gotten around to. Make $1 million. Whoa. Debt-free, working on it. 100% discipline. Writing a book. Awesome. Those are great goals. So what happens with those goals and intentions? What happened? What are some of the reasons they ended up in that drawer, right? Maybe it's become just too hard. Maybe you didn't have the knowledge you needed. Maybe it just became too overwhelming. Maybe the enthusiasm just died out. Maybe the money ran out, or maybe your patience ran out, right? So then what happened? Well, I'm willing to bet that you tried to avoid the situation first, and then you came up with some pretty creative and imaginative excuses. I'll do it tomorrow. Probably. I can't finish this until it's just right. I would love to be more successful, but I probably wouldn't be able to keep up to it anyway. So why bother? I just can't deal with this right now. I am way too busy. What if I fail? Right? I mean, who hasn't used these excuses before? Anybody? Which excuse is your top one, your top go-to excuse when you're a little bit uncomfortable with your goal, or you just decide that you're not going to do it? Which one?
Well, I would say being overwhelmed.
Being
To the
overwhelmed?
point where you're like, oh, should I make this next call?
Right? So you're overwhelmed. So what do? You procrastinate, right?
Right.
I'll do it tomorrow. Absolutely. Procrastination, all of them. Yeah, I'll do it tomorrow. Yeah, procrastination's a big one. So it's completely normal. Join the club. But you know what? Typically those excuses are caused by stress and overwhelm, which happen to be the byproducts of 3 negative emotions: fear, guilt, and anger, which happen because we're not 100% in alignment with what our goals represent. We don't understand what exactly is required. We take on too much at once, or the reason we want to achieve that goal just isn't powerful enough for us. Comes back to our why, right? So when we're angry, in fear or guilt, our bodies react to stress by producing a hormone called cortisol, right? Which prepares us for fight, flight, or freeze. We can't live with excessive cortisol in our system for an extended amount of time without affecting our health. Talking about depression, anxiety, heart disease, high blood pressure, unexplained pain, panic attacks, and persistent fatigue. That's just getting started, right? So the question is, how do we overcome those negative emotions, that anger, the fear, the guilt that continue to hold us back, so that we can finally start to enjoy the process of achieving those goals rather than resisting them? This is where the beautiful philosophy of Kaizen comes in. So I want to introduce you to a gentleman by the name of Edwards Deming. Okay, this is a man that made history with Toyota and started the whole philosophy that is now known as Kaizen. Has anybody heard of Dr. Deming? Let's put in the chat, yes or no. No, no. Okay, good. So Dr. Deming, he was responsible for a lot of the manufacturing improvements in the USA around the time of World War II. And because of his out-of-the-box thinking, he caught Japan's attention and was invited to help rebuild their manufacturing facilities after the war. Okay, Toyota started adopting his philosophy of continuous improvement made through small steps throughout all of their factories. And part of what he taught Toyota would become pivotal in how they looked at their employees and the value they brought to the table. In order to improve the quality and lower the costs, Deming instructed Toyota to start telling their workers that if they wanted to manufacture great products, they had to ask themselves one thing each and every day, just one thing. And that one thing was, what extremely small step can I take to improve the process or the product today? Simple question, right? Simple, but so powerful. What that did is it stuck in the minds of all their workers throughout the day, and it became something that they started focusing on. So they ended up being so successful, or this ended up being so successful for Toyota in improving the quality of their products, that any factory worker was authorized and expected to walk off the factory floor, pull an engineer aside, and show that engineer how they could save 5, 3, even 1 second on that factory floor by making any tiny change in the process or the design without affecting the quality. Because those small seconds added up big time. And that helped Toyota to rise up from the ruins of World War II to become a manufacturing superpower that it is today. So they weren't revolutionizing the design. They were only making small, incremental, and continual improvements. The Japanese bought into this philosophy so much, they gave it its own name and called it Kaizen. So today, Kaizen is known as a way of life philosophy based on making little changes on a continual basis. It's about finding new, fun, creative, and effective ways to improve one's life, tackle the mundane, all the while managing stress to attain a certain vision or solution or a goal. And today it's embraced by a lot of large manufacturing facilities, mostly by the name of lean management. Has anybody heard of lean management? That might be a little bit, no, yes. Yeah, so lean management started through Kaizen, okay? As well as small entrepreneurs and leaders all around the globe that are using this philosophy. So let's see how continuous improvement made through small steps relates to small businesses now. So anybody been to a motivational expert before? Anybody? Yes? Tanya, yes. Mike, yes. So people often look at these experts when something's no longer working for them, right? They need solutions and they need them fast. Typically, these experts teach us to take big, bold steps to achieve our goals. They have strict deadlines, extensive strategies, and promise massive outcomes if you just do what they say, right? The problem is, at least for me, taking big, bold steps, it backfires because it becomes too overwhelming and I just give up. Hence the goal drawer, right? So what seems exciting and capable in the moment quickly wears off, and we're just left feeling uncertainty, guilt, and fear that goes along with it. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of wasting time and money, fear of looking ridiculous, and in some cases, even a fear of success with all the pressure that comes with that. So let's take a look at why it's so easy to get locked into all these emotions that keep us from doing the things that could potentially be really good for ourselves and our business. Has anybody heard of the amygdala? Let's put it in the chat. Yes. Mike says yes. Yes, Krista, yes. Tanya, okay, good. No, okay. So the amygdala is our primitive fight or flight response in the brain, okay? It's there to protect us when it senses that we're outside of our comfort zones. Okay, and thousands of years ago, when we were in danger every single day, the amygdala allowed our bodies to be able to focus only on what was needed in order to survive. Everything else was shut down out of necessity. Okay, does that make sense? So all rational thought went out the door in order to focus on pumping blood and making sure that our muscles were ready to run, ready to fight. Today, that amygdala doesn't really need to protect us so much from imminent danger every day, such as it did back in the days of the saber-toothed tigers, but now it protects us from discomfort. Okay, one of the ways it does this is through distraction, the tiny object syndrome, right? That we seem to, so many of us get sucked into, including myself. Squirrel, right? So if we can give into short-term activities, short-term coping activities, it relieves our stress, our fear and resistance, even for a short little while. That's what our fear center in our brain is programmed to do, whether it be cleaning, going on social media, sending out emails, or other things that can come out of left field. That's become our way of distracting ourselves to put off what we don't really feel comfortable in doing. The great excuse, right? Let's take a look. Elaine, yeah, she has shiny object syndrome too. Let's take a look at some examples. For instance, we procrastinate by suddenly needing to troll Facebook for that one all-important video that we saw the other day, just so that we can avoid facing that huge project that we've been putting off. We strive to find perfection in ourselves and others to avoid the things that we don't want to acknowledge in our relationships. And we sludge on the couch and watch The Big Bang Theory, my favorite, night after night to avoid the insecurity of going alone to a networking event or something that could give us new connections, friendships, and sales opportunities for our business. We sabotage ourselves by giving into negativity and uncertainty about a new career, perhaps, because of our insecurities of not being good enough, fear of being laughed at, or not being smart enough. All of those examples that I just shared with you have one thing in common, and that is fear, right? Fears are a natural part of business development and goal achievement. We need that fear to push us to be able to reach higher and succeed. That fear tells us that we're about to grow, right? If we can just get past it. So think of what you're putting off right now, what you've missed out on because of fear-related emotions that's tripped you up. When I take on a new client, we work on a system that identifies what their top fears are, the gifts that those fears bring, and how to finally take action so that they can start achieving amazing things again without that resistance. This is really important to be able to get past those fears and anxieties so that you can start to move forward again with more ease, confidence, and energy. So let's get back to where Kaizen fits into all of this. The first thing that I want to talk to you guys about today is one of the key components that contribute to productivity and goal achievement. Kaizen small steps, okay? It's not about taking any small step probably that you've ever tried before. You guys heard about how to eat an elephant? One toe at a time? Yeah? Well, this isn't one small toe at a time. This is like a toenail at a time. That's the Kaizen way. Change can be really scary, and it limits you, or if it limits you from doing what you want to be doing in order to reach your goals, your intentions, and your passions, there's a definite problem, right? But that's the science behind Kaizen small steps. It's based on how it works with that primitive fight or flight part of the brain. in order to bypass that fear center of the brain, we need to hack it. Okay, we need to be able to tippy-toe past it, past that amygdala that we spoke about, so that it doesn't wake up in alarm. Because when it does that, we don't get anything done, except maybe a clean bathroom, right? But with Kaizen, our resistance to change begins to weaken. Okay, by taking extremely small steps and developing this new habit, we start to retrain the mind, the brain, to allow us to achieve more and succeed without blowing the whistle. In order to be successful and bypass that fear center, small steps need to be almost ridiculous or laughable. I'm going to give you a couple of examples. For instance, instead of telling somebody who wanted to lose weight to go to the gym and exercise for an hour, the Kaizen way would be to recommend that person start to march in front of the TV during a commercial for 1 minute. If somebody wanted to cut caffeine out of their diet, the Kaizen way would be to suggest to take 1 less sip a day. If you wanted to tackle that huge amount of paperwork in your office, instead of committing to doing the whole pile in 1 day, simply start by putting them into 3 piles: high priority, low priority, and throwaway, right? And then you continue with another small step and another small step. If you wanted to take care of your body, right, a little bit better, instead of telling yourself that you need to lose weight, ask yourself if you could do 5 sit-ups in the morning after waking up, or eat 1 less spoonful of white carbs than normal. You see, every small step is so small that your brain will think it's super easy without the need for any excuses. And with time, you're going to start to create a habit, and the momentum will build naturally and without resistance, instead of procrastinating and never getting to it, as would normally happen. So by creating new habits and shifting the process to be more fun and enjoyable, we actually want to show up and do the work. We actually want to march in front of the TV because it's so easy. And sooner or later, we're going to march for 2 minutes. We're going to want to do more and more and more because we've broken down those barriers. We're no longer in overwhelm. Does that make sense? There's no more cause for excuse. Does that make sense to everybody? Yes, yes? Good. Because I'm an all or nothing person, right? Until now, right? All right. So here's a little story that's a perfect example of small steps. As a solopreneur, like I am, I have to log all of my mileage on my vehicle. It's something that I absolutely hate doing, but I know it has to be done. So as I'm collecting all that paperwork throughout the months, I resist doing anything because it's not a task that I enjoy. Sooner or later, usually around this time of year, I'm faced with this huge stack of receipts that immediately put me into overwhelm. I keep procrastinating and procrastinating until my accountant sends me an email, right? They want those numbers. She wants those numbers. And so this is what I do. I ask myself how I would accomplish this the Kaizen way. The result is I would time block 5 minutes of my day, only 5 minutes, to slowly start to go through that stack. The first day would just be to get my Word document open, basically, and retitled for the new year. The next would be to go through as much as I can in 5 minutes. Sooner or later, I know that once I'm in the flow, I'm going to naturally do more and more. I've worked through the overwhelm. I've torn down those barriers. And every day after I've done even just 5 minutes, instead of feeling like I failed because I didn't get the whole thing done, I feel super successful and proud because I did my 5 minutes and I actually started to put a dent into that stack. Does that make sense? And if you really want to make it easier, crank up the music if you can. Find a way to really enjoy the process. And it won't seem like work, and it'll be something that you actually look forward to doing. Kristen, you have a pile of receipts too, hey? I can totally relate. So here's a tip. Where did my tip number 1 go? Did I just, maybe I just went through that, or maybe I didn't. Anyway, here's a tip for you. One way to ensure that you make new habits and achievements more enjoyable is to celebrate the small wins. This includes even your near wins as well. Those times when we come close, but just don't get there. This is one thing I wasn't doing before. I would beat myself up for not getting it right or not doing enough. And this is so especially important, especially if you have perfectionistic tendencies, okay? You're not always going to hit your target or your goal. And when you don't, it's still important to give yourself credit, okay? It's valuable in showing us what worked and what we can improve on. And it also gives us a chance to redefine and rework the process. And by doing this, we can push ourselves beyond what we ever imagined, simply by giving ourselves permission to celebrate and stay motivated. Celebration time, right? So pillar number 2 is small thoughts. So it's been proven that when we have a stressful event coming up or something stressful, we are way more successful if we can prepare for it, okay? Not only does it reduce our stress, but it gives us the confidence we need to be able to do what we need to do. By incorporating Kaizen small thoughts and the mind sculpture method, we can prepare ourselves to do anything: run a tough race, go on a blind date, or prepare for a difficult meeting. Any goal that we have, it helps to be able to visualize the outcome of that goal so that you can have complete clarity around it. So mind sculpture, has anybody heard of mind sculpture? Yes, no, maybe? Yes? No? Okay, so this will be new. Plasticity, okay. This will be new to a couple people then. So by incorporating mind sculpture, it takes advantage of neuroscience. And it requires us to pretend that we're actually taking part in the action, okay? This isn't just visualizing. This is visualizing on steroids, okay? We also want to hear, taste, smell, and touch. And the best part of it is it only needs to be for 1 minute a day. Super simple. When we can actually imagine coming into a room, smelling the wood on the floor, touching the chair and the fabric, feeling the movement of your muscles along with the rise and fall of your emotions. After a while, and eventually, the brain can't tell the difference from what's real and what isn't. And it builds that experience into muscle memory, okay? Olympic athlete Mike Phelps does this in every competition. He may not call it mind sculpture, but it's exactly what he does. He did it when he prepared for the Beijing Olympics. He rehearsed mentally every day before he actually got into the pool. He rehearsed everything going well, and he rehearsed everything that may trip him up, that might not go well. In other words, he prepared for every situation. And the payoff really came when he ended up getting into the water, and his glasses, he got water in his goggles during one of his heats, a problem that would have slowed him down and cost him valuable time ordinarily. But instead, he was prepared, right? He envisioned this potential issue during his mind sculpting exercises, and amazingly enough, he knew exactly what to do, as if he was expecting it, and he went on to win the gold medal that year. It's pretty amazing stuff. So I do my best mind sculpting just before bed. I close my eyes and I envision what is about to happen. And I do this for about 5 to 7 days leading up to the event. For instance, when I speak on stage, I do that along with my Superwoman pose. You know, the one that Grey's Anatomy made famous by showing. Anyway, I feel way more confident and prepared than I would otherwise, just by the simple act of mind sculpture. So, pillar 3 is small questions. It's been proven that by asking yourself curious questions, it's way more motivating than telling yourself what to do. Many times when we're trying to work on achieving a certain goal, we get stumped along the way, right? And that's one reason that we can give up on it, because we just don't have the solutions. So try asking yourself small questions instead. For example, if your goal was to lose weight, when you go shopping for groceries next time, instead of telling yourself, I need to buy healthier foods so that I can lose weight, instead ask yourself, what healthy food can I buy today? In this case, the point is to program your brain into thinking, how can I make myself healthier? Instead of treating it like some kind of obligation, right? The same could apply to the goal of trying to get along better with somebody in the office. Instead of telling yourself, I really need to get along with this person better, think to yourself, how can I better relate to this person today? Do you see the difference? It's kind of like if you imagine that inner child that you've got, right? With his or her hands on their hips, stomping their feet, saying, you can't tell me what to do. But if we show it a little bit of curiosity and ask a question, all of a sudden that inner child goes, okay, maybe I'll help. Maybe I'll try and give you a hand, right? That's exactly what you're doing. You're hacking the brain for a solution. Krista, you are right on the money. Looking for a solution, your brain will go to work to find the answer. So this kind of questioning is much more stimulating and gentle than just forcing yourself to do something, okay? So the other way Kaizen small questions work is to ask yourself small questions in order to brainstorm something. Questions that start with who, what, how, and when will really get the juices flowing. I forgot when on my slide. I have to fix that. So notice that I didn't say why, right? That's because a why type of question, that's typically associated with why can't I? Why am I? Why do I? Let's face it, your brain loves to problem solve in the background and it will give you the answer. But you may not like those answers, right? If you're whining, how come I suck? Why am I not as successful as that other person? Why can't I get this? Blah, blah, blah. Don't do it. Your brain is going to give you those answers big time, and you won't want to hear it. So instead, ask the questions that start with who, what, how, and when, and watch the aha moments start to appear as your brain starts to work hard in the background for solutions. Those aha moments that you're going to get, they're going to start showing up when you're in alpha mode. Okay, alpha mode is when your brain is sort of in a lull, in that relaxed state, and when you're at your most creative. It could be when you're out for a casual walk. It could be when you're driving, when you're gardening, or when you're preparing to go to sleep. It could be any time when your brain is just sort of, like I said, at that lull. So take time to listen, pay attention, and have a pad and paper ready, because when those ideas come, you don't have a lot of time before they disappear, right? Especially the older you get. Like, I have a piece of paper and a pen in almost every room of my house, especially in my bathroom. Because I don't know about you, but I have a lot of awesome aha moments in the shower. I get so much accomplished. I get so many solutions when I'm in the shower. Give me a high five in the chat if that's you too. It's really hard to write down when you're in the shower, so I have a pen and paper right outside my bathroom door. So my tip is write down your question so that you can have that aha moment. And when you get it, you can remember why you needed that solution in the first place and where it came from. I use recording on my phone. Yes, that's good too, but you can't take your phone in. Well, I guess you could try and take your phone in the shower. So through Kaizen, we start to exceed expectations and continue to make momentum by taking small steps, thinking small thoughts, and asking small questions to solve big problems, okay? Just to get to our big and lofty goals. This leads us to a path of creating new habits for success just by simplifying and altering the process and the path that we take to get to those goals. Because once we can alter the process in a way that's easy and enjoyable, you actually want to show up and the product or the goal takes care of itself. So tell me through the chat, which Kaizen pillar did you get more out of? Which one are you going to try? Small actions, small thoughts, or small questions? All of them. Who else is going to try some? Questions, small questions? 1 to 3, all of them? Awesome. Small questions? Awesome. Can we do all of them? Of course you can do all of them. So I just want to thank you guys for coming today, and I've got a gift for you. And I want to tell you about my new challenge starting soon as well. But my gift is my Using Kaizen to Crush It in Your Business article. It outlines a lot of what we talked about tonight with a few more insights on how to use Kaizen in your business. And it includes my weekly and my daily small steps Kaizen action sheets for your goals, okay? Your goals, projections, and forecasts. These are the sheets that I use in my masterminds, I use in my group coaching, and I use in my one-on-one. I want to give you guys this gift for you today just for stepping up and being here. But since I'm not live with you, I usually hand out feedback forms and whatever. So since I'm not live, I need you guys to reach out to me via email. So you just need to email brenda@brendacolossa.com with your thoughts about this presentation, because it's the only way I get to hear real feedback about my online presentations. And once you do that, I'm going to add you to my email list, just a heads up. That email list, I occasionally send out insights, inspirations, techniques on how you can become more focused, be more confident, and crush those goals that you have. All right, I'm going to send that gift out to you as soon as I hear from you. Sound good?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
So the other thing, can I just mention this challenge coming up?
Please do.
Perfect. So I haven't even launched this yet. I'm going to start tomorrow. You guys are the very first to hear about this challenge. It's my free challenge starting November 16th called Harness the Power, oh my goodness, of Positive Thinking for a Resilient Business. It's a 14-day email challenge, because one thing I've learned along the way is that in order to be more productive in business, we have to continue to find ways to think more positively about our life, okay? We've been led to believe that in order to be happier, we first need to have better relationships. We need to be healthier. We need to make more money. We need to be more successful in our business. But you know what? Studies have shown over and over again that that's backward thinking, right? By consciously finding new ways to make our life more fulfilled, right? With positive thinking and joy, we then start to create more possibilities to succeed in both our business and our life, not the other way around. So happy entrepreneurs and leaders are proven to be more productive, more creative, better problem solvers, and more fulfilled than those who aren't as happy. So I'd love it if you guys wanted to be the first to join the 14-day challenge and just start the habit of positive thinking with me. And the cool thing is that there's going to be prizes along the way with this challenge. So it's going to be a lot of fun, and you can take one step closer to being able to enrich your life and your business. So the way to connect is on the screen. I appreciate you guys showing up so much today, and I hope that we can find a way to work together or to get to know one another a little bit more. And again, if you email me your thoughts on this talk, my email address is right there. And what you would tell other people about this talk, I'll send you my article on using Kaizen to crush it in your business, which includes both a weekly, daily small steps action sheet or action sheets for those who filled it out and send it to me. All right. Anybody have any questions? I see we've got a couple minutes left.
So sounds good so far, and we already Tony already posted inside there of the.
Thank you, Tony.
So that way, you everybody can have it and copy it. So in that way they can have it. And
you guys are the first to click on that, so I'm really hoping it works.
we're gonna let you know.
Tested it
That's for
today,
sure.
but
If it doesn't work, we're gonna let you know.
yeah, just let me know for sure. Any questions?
I have some questions, but anybody in the chat that have questions, I'm more than happy to take it before I'm gonna put my questions, because I don't want to take over the show without anybody doing questions. Anybody?
I'll just make a comment. Great presentation, by the way. That was amazing. Loved it. I have a few notes here. But one thing I really connected with was the mental sculpting. That's such a powerful technique. I actually recently utilized it in this competition that I had for martial arts, kind of imagining all the scenarios, everything that could go wrong, and, what I would do if I get stuck in a certain position, and just, it's so, but I guess I kind of did this without even, realizing that there was like a whole method behind it and a term for it. So like 5 minutes, literally, maybe sometimes more. I was kind of obsessing over it, but yeah, anywhere between 5 to 15 minutes before going to bed each night for like a week leading up to the event, I would think like, just kind of play the movie and think of all these different scenarios. So it's cool to kind of like have gone through it and then to see like this is actually like a technique. There's a word for mental sculpting. So
yeah, mind sculpting is something that's used by a lot of athletes, a lot of professional athletes. So Tony, do you find that it works for you?
Like it was like a weird, like literally everything I thought of, every game plan that I came out, I carried it out and everything went fine. I won first place. Not saying it's always going to be that easy or work out that well rather. But it was cool though. I mean, it's such a powerful so like the times that I would go in there without a plan, I would get smoked or I just wasn't ready for certain things. But this time, having the experience, and just kind of like laying out every single scenario and game plans and what I would do and all this stuff, it helps so much. It was crazy.
For sure. Well, you're in good company, that's for sure.
So thank you once again. Awesome presentation. Loved it.
Thank you. You're welcome.
We have also a question there in the chat.
How do you deal with distractions and getting back to focus on your goals, and do you time yourself? Oh my, I love that question because I have a whole system around that. If I have a super busy day, like I have 2 businesses, right? So, and one that's very deadline oriented. What I do is I have a system, I've developed my own crushing it get to do list. And within that list, first of all, I have to prioritize. I do a brain dump. I prioritize that brain dump and I set my top 3 priorities, those non-negotiable priorities that I have to get done that day. I put those at the top of my day in the morning because that's when I am most productive myself, and I time them. I allocate however much time I want to spend on them, say it's an hour, maybe it's a half an hour, whatever I need to do, and I only work for that amount of time. Once that time's done, I put it away, I take a little break, maybe a celebration because I did something, and then I move on to the next priority. This works way better than working all day on one priority and not getting anything else done. You end up feeling like a failure. You end up frustrated because you didn't get as much done as you wanted to. You only focused on that one priority instead of getting to everything on your list just in shorter amount of time. So you've built up the momentum, you're excited, you're energized, and you're ready to go back at it tomorrow. It completely works for me, and I get a crap load of stuff done every day, I can tell you that much. I hope that answers your question. And I take distractions off the table. Like I shut down my email, my notifications are on silent, I turn over my phone. I am uber focused because I am the type of person that if I get something done, I get off on scratching it off my list. Like if I do something that's not on that list, I will purposely put it on that list and scratch it off just to feel that hit of dopamine come into my system. It's ridiculous, but it keeps me motivated, so I do it.
That's good. Look, Susie does also that one, and I also do it. So I can share the list. You know, it's just that I have a doctor handwriting, so sometimes people they're not gonna understand me, but it's good. I do understand it. I was trying to ask you, do you use any tools that you have in your mind that you can kind of, you know, like applications or anything like that? Do you have any specific thing that you're gonna use to keep yourself on the track, except, you know, that 30 minutes for certain tasks and those 3 steps and, you know, the sheet, the task list?
Well, time blocking is a huge thing. Like I said, what gets scheduled gets done, basically. Okay, if it's not scheduled, I find myself scattered unless I have it written down with a time block beside it. I find that I get way more distracted easier. I'm scattered and I don't get as much done as I normally would. So for me, time blocking is vital. And there's a number of things you can do, you know, like the Pomodoro technique. There's a number of ways to allocate your time, and you just kind of have to find out what works best for you.
And you use like maybe a Google Calendar or some sheets that you use, or you use some kind of application like, I don't know, To Do or whatever application it's out there that, you know, it helps you spec through.
You know what? A lot of people use Asana and systems like that, which is completely, you know, absolutely 100%. I have my longer term goals in Asana, and I like to go back to them when I'm developing my milestones and just to make sure that I'm on track. But I mean, those sheets that you're going to get when you email me and tell me what you thought of this talk, you're going to get what I give my clients, a way to break down that goal into milestones and then your daily small steps. So to me, that's just as effective. It's good to have everything in a system like Asana, but honestly, I kind of tend to forget about it sometimes. I need those sheets in front of me. I need to put them up on my side. Sometimes I work with a Kanban board. Do you guys know what a Kanban board is?
No.
So a Kanban board is, where do I have it? Hang on. Where did I put it? No, I can't find it. Anyway, it's a board, and you can Google it. It's a board that you have, you use just little sticky notes, right? And you put it on a board with to do, waiting for approval, done type of thing. Whatever is relevant to you and your business, you put those sticky notes on. And so when you're done, you move them over to done or waiting or whatever the case is. And then you've got all of your tasks, all of your projects on sticky notes. And that's what a Kanban board is. And there's online Kanban boards as well. So it just depends what you're more comfortable using.
So it is very like fluctuant, you know, whatever it is, like you're comfortable with. So the main ingredient is like the 3 steps, the 3 pillars that you use. and to get time blocks.
Mhm.
That's going to be that kind of the wrap up of the idea.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a number of techniques, that I cover in my coaching, but there's not one technique that works for everybody, right? So a lot of times I'll go over several different techniques.
Right. This is great information, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people, they will find this very useful, and especially because we all need to kind of start somewhere and or have that tendency to procrastinate. But at the end of the day, as long as we have our goals in our mind, I'm pretty sure everybody's gonna tend to focus and push it towards to achieve it, no matter what we have.
Yeah, absolutely. So hopefully this will help you guys to get to your goals a little bit easier so that you won't have so many goals in that drawer, right? Start pulling those goals out.
For sure. We're gonna put also this video inside of the YouTube, so I'm gonna make sure that I'm gonna put that those contact information that you just post right now. I mean,
Sure.
they're on there. So in that way, everybody that missed this call tonight as live, they're gonna be able to see it later in the video. And I'm pretty sure I have to go at least 1 or 2 times back to the video and watch it again, because sometimes information fly through the ears without to have the right direction. And
I hear you.
review it for sure. So we're gonna do that. In that way, it's gonna be more, I would say, more get to that plasticity that it's inside our brain and remodel it to the point of success, which is all what we're looking for to succeed.
Absolutely. Thank you for that.
Thank you very much, Brenda, for all the great share that you had. If nobody has any question, Mr. Tony.
That was awesome, Brenda. Thank you so much once again. It was a pleasure having you. Like Peter said, lots of great information. Can't wait to have this on YouTube and go back through it. And thanks again, guys. Thanks again for being here. Good seeing everybody, and we'll see you guys next week.
Perfect. Thanks, guys.
Have a successful week. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.